Okay. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to this court is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
All right. You're Victor Darnell, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And
Victor
you're
Darnell Pace.
Victor Darnell Pace Jr., is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're requesting to legitimate a child, Memphis Pace, female child born in 2019.
Yes, ma'am. I'm also requesting sole primary and physical custody. Could you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. It's just that I wasn't expecting that. Do you have the child in your custody now?
Yes, ma'am. I done had her for like 7 to 8 months now.
And when was the last time you had interaction with the mother?
I say it's probably about like 2 months ago.
So she doesn't visit the child?
No, ma'am. Last time I've tried to, she's recently tried to see her. I tried to meet with her at a park or in a public area, but she hasn't, she didn't want to comply to it. So, because the situation that she's in, she's in a hostile environment. So I was like, I didn't want to send her back like that. So, and she didn't want to go as well. So, in the times that I have, she didn't try to reply or try to come.
Does she work?
Yes, ma'am. She works that I know of. She works a lot to the point where my kid is not even with her majority of the time.
Does she live here?
Yes. Does she live in Georgia? Yes, ma'am. She lives in Georgia. She works work overnight or something like that. That I know of in the nursing field.
And she hasn't seen the child in over 2 months?
No, she hasn't seen her in 7 months since the last situation that occurred. In her household. Basically, she was in a hostile environment where she was being abused, and my daughter was injured in the same process. So they decab she called me to come get the kid, come get my kid for that matter.
There's a case going on?
Yes, ma'am, that I know of. I mean, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
There's a DFACS case that prevents her from seeing the child.
No, it's not her preventing, but the case hasn't been all the way there yet. I don't know. She hasn't called and said anything,
Does the DFACS order prevent her from seeing the child?
No, ma'am, it doesn't. It doesn't prevent her from seeing it.
Okay. Does it prevent her from seeing the child without you being present?
No, ma'am. But she's supposed to, I've been trying to let her see her or give her to her or let her, you know what I'm saying, in that matter. But with the situation going on, she's still dealing with the guy and so that's part of the reason why I haven't let her see her, or she hasn't been back over there with her. Not that I have not, I'm trying to keep her away from her, but she hasn't complied. And recently she hasn't complied. She hasn't called. She hasn't sent any money or none of that. I let her call her. She doesn't answer. She calls when it's convenient for her.
I'm sorry, say that again?
She only calls when it's convenient for her, I guess.
Why has your case been dismissed 3 times?
Well, the first one I had a allergic reaction to the point where I missed the court date. The second one, I think it was due to you guys. Y'all had a emergency going on within the court. So y'all reset the date, but I didn't get the date. And then this time, I was able to, y'all reconsidered me another court date.
You signed a birth certificate?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you ever taken a DNA test?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you pay child support?
No, ma'am.
Were you on child support?
No, ma'am. I've just been going through this motion where I've always had to get her legitimate. But I send her money though.
Who took the DNA test? Was that state or independent?
Independent. I took one for myself. I also have those documents too
What document?
of the DNA test.
Do you, is she in school now or daycare?
Yes, ma'am.
What is she, what school or not where, but is she in daycare or school or preschool? What is she doing?
Pre-K, even pre-K.
Is she in a public pre-K?
Yes, ma'am. Fayetteville child care something.
Now, how'd you get her in there? What is?
Well, I took her to get her. I had to take her to go get a physical, where she just updated on all her shots and stuff now. So
You took her to go get her shots?
yes, ma'am.
Is this a doctor established by you or mom?
Me. But
So
really both of us. It's because she's been going to this primary doctor since she was a baby. So
that's what I'm asking. So she's been going to the same primary doctor since she was little?
yes, ma'am.
Baby? Okay. Okay. And you are in Fayetteville now?
Yes, ma'am. I'm in Riverdale. Well, it's next to that. Yeah, it's Riverdale, but
Okay. And Kimberly Harris lives here.
And yes, ma'am, in daycare.
Mhm. And how did the daughter come in your possession again? You said there was some incident at the house.
Yeah, it was an incident where she hit her head in the hostile environment that she had. She hit her head on a bathtub.
Who hit her head?
My daughter hit her head on the tub. Her mother was fighting, I guess, in an abusive relationship with her guy that she's with now, and I guess he ended up coming in the rest. I guess my daughter ended up coming in the midst of it, and she ended up getting hurt in the process. I guess she was in her hands, and he pushed her down while she was in her hands. They charged him. He ended up having charges where he got second-degree child cruelty and first-degree family misdemeanor, something like that. And they called me to come retrieve my kid, decaf. But I never received a case number, but they just told me to take my kid because they didn't know what was going to go next. And ever since then, I didn't have her since then. It's been, like I said, 6-7 months now since the situation.
Have you seen anything from DFACS indicating what the parameters are, or are you guessing?
No, every time I talk to DFACS, they like the first time I talked to DFACS, they didn't have nothing for me. They asked me for her number, and that was it. Now, and they couldn't give me no information on what was going on. I called, I asked, and like I didn't get nothing until now. Like the situations kept piling up, at this point. Like this is not the first situation. It's been numerous situations where it's an altercation happened between her and her guy where they're fighting in front of my kid, and the DFACS was involved where I brought them back to see to let them see how the kids were, how my kid were, and they didn't have nothing for me. I haven't heard nothing back. They called me and asked me if I have any concern, but they still wouldn't give me nothing.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to legitimate the child, but I'm going to give you temporary sole and legal custody until I figure out what's going on with the DFACS case, because because if there's another proceeding or something else is going on with the child, I need to be able to recognize that before I make a final decision. Because if you're saying DFACS won't divulge information to you, and DFACS told you to come get the child, it could be mom cannot be around this child.
Right.
We don't know what that is. And so I'm not going to pull custody in the middle of this issue.
Okay.
And understand what it is. So for right now, I'll legitimate the child because you indicated you signed the birth certificate. I do need for you to send me a copy of it over to me, and I'll seal it. It won't be public.
Okay.
But I'll legitimate the child in that regard. And you said you've had the child for 7 months, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And that you've done a DNA test that you can also present to the court, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So send me the birth certificate, send me the DNA test. I'll legitimate the child. And then I'm going to give you temporary sole and legal custody. So, sole custody, primary legal, and then I'm gonna do a guardian ad litem for the child, so we can figure out what's going on with the DFACS stuff.
Okay.
So
Thank
for the
you.
guardian ad litem, you're gonna get you'll get an order basically telling you to contact our volunteer lawyers foundation. They can appoint a guardian ad litem for your daughter, and that way we can get the guardian ad litem will be able to get the DFACS records so that we can understand whether there are any parameters that were put into place that would prevent mom from being around the daughter. Therefore, she basically, I just need to figure out what the parameters of the relationship is before we move forward with anything at this juncture. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
All right. I can leave the
Your Honor.
I'm sorry.
I'm dismissed. I can exit out.
Yes. Hold on for a second. Ms. Marshall.
Yes, ma'am. Where do you want the birth certificate and DNA results emailed?
Oh, you can, Mr. Pace he could send them to you. Mr. Pace, do you have Ms. Marshall's information?
Yes, ma'am, I do. I have Mr. Marshall's information.
All right. You're able to present that to me today?
Yes, ma'am, I can get it to you today.
All right, then. So yeah, send that to Ms. Marshall.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
You too. Thank you.
Your daughter was in a bad incident and was in harm's way. That's the reason why I gave you temporary custody.
Correct. Right now, Kimberly is refusing to return our daughter like we agreed. She called the police like 20 plus times to retrieve her from my fiance.
All right. And so now the child is with Ms. Harris.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And
She was
your
supposed to be
position,
returned today, but I was locked up less than 24 hours and I got out. Once I called her to return her, she never did return her. Kimberly told me I waived my rights.
Everything she just told you is a lie.
Ms. Harris, I promise you, if you say another word to me,
I'm not sure.
without me asking you, you will not like my ruling. Go ahead and remove yourself from my courtroom. Go ahead and remove yourself from my courtroom, Ms. Harris.